Okay, uncomfortable conversations with a black man. I'm gonna. Oh, Jesus. And I'm out of cough drops. All right. Here's my uncomfortable question for a black man. Well, it's not really uncomfortable for me, it's more uncomfortable for him. Why are you such a goddamn victim? Why is it that black people seem to belong to a goddamn victim cult? Anyway, there's the request button. $5 or more will get you a video. Please keep the video between 5 and 10 minutes in length. If you want to upgrade, for every $5 after the 10-minute mark, you get 5 more minutes.
Welcome to another episode of Uncomfortable Conversation.
Where have I seen this guy before, and why do I hate him?
So I'm privileged to be joined by
Well, actually, anybody that says that hormone blockers and puberty blockers are reversible, well, no. Jazz Jennings was on them since she was about 5, and now will never go through male puberty, has had her dick cut off, and keeps forgetting to put in her fucking, I don't know, donut ring to keep her fake-ass vagina open, because the male body treats the vagina like a wound. Because, you know, we're not meant to have one. Again, this motherfucker would not like to have a sit-down with me.
Chip, why was it so important that you bring your whole family here for this conversation?
Oh man, when I saw your
Because you're a bunch of left-wing liberal fucking douchebags. That's why. Like, again, they never invite somebody like me on this to ask a black man very hard questions like, again, what is up with black people and the fucking victim cult? You are not oppressed in this country. No matter how much you want to be. And you're almost like a sub begging for Mistress America's punishment.
hear what you have to say, and the idea about having an uncomfortable conversation with the black man, honestly, is exactly what we need for this exact time.
Well, that's all I do, have uncomfortable conversations. Then you find out most of the things they're spouting are full of shit.
No?
Okay, he asked the kids a question. Hey, pretend like you're at a gas station and you see a black man and a white man. Are you more threatened by either of those two men? And the kids really quick all said no. Why? Like in their mind, they didn't even think about it.
Okay, I already know where this is going. You know what, I'll wait for him to answer and then I'll expose the bullshit.
That. And so later, Chip and I were talking, and this whole idea of this colorblind thing came up. Chip said, I'm proud. I think our kids are colorblind. And then we started kind of...
that used to be the fucking goal. There was this guy. He said, I want people to be judged on content of character, not color of skin. But thanks to assholes like this black motherfucker, we've regressed to seeing race in everywhere all the time. Formerly the position of the Ku Klux Klan. Congratulations. You've gotten so progressive, I'll give you your white fucking robe and hood.
Kind of pushing back on that. And I think our question to you is, I've heard other parents say that. They want...
Oh yeah, and LeVar Burton was almost devastated by it. Like Ben Affleck was devastated that an ancestor of his that had been dead for like 200 years was a slave owner. Yeah, gee, your family ain't perfect.
Want to raise their kids.
So I didn't grow up with any animals. I didn't grow up with any dogs. And so my sister got attacked by a dog when she was younger. So now as a 29-year-old man, I can't decipher between a dog that's a threat and a dog that's just a pet.
Wow.
Because I didn't grow up with any animals. And I think that...
A dog that's a pet will most likely come up to you and get up on your leg and have its tongue wagging out and blah, blah, blah. A dog that's a threat. Also, why did you grow up with no animals? What the fuck? Also, you're a 29-year-old man. Get a dog. A dog that's a threat comes up with gnashing, snarling, teeth out, and will generally bark at you before it attacks because it's wanting to see your challenge back.
It's just black.
Sure.
A black person won't be able to decipher between a white person that's a racist and a white person who's just white and may happen to be racially ignorant. So,
no. A white person who is a racist will very quickly let you know that he's a racist. They're like vegans. They can never shut the fuck up about it. As for a black man who's just black versus a black man as a threat, while I do take that into consideration, the problem is, particularly with black males specifically, you are 6% of the population, yet responsible for half the violent crime. So, there's that. But generally, if I'm at the gas station and I'm filling up my car with dead dinosaurs, and a black man is there next to me, I'm going to assume he's not a threat, and I'm going to assume the car is him, because still in all, the vast majority of black men, specifically black men, are law-abiding citizens. Now, unfortunately, one stereotype is true. And that is, if I see a black woman with a child, I'm going to assume she's a single mom. Because again, something like 80% of black children are in single mother households. So unfortunately, the odds do play into the stereotypes.
So I think there's a strength, there's a beauty in seeing color. I don't like the concept of color blindness because colors and cultures are beautiful.
Well, then why the fuck did Dr. King do all that work? Why did Star Trek do all that work? Why did Dr. King bother to have Uhura stay on the show? Because I guess fuck the future where we don't see color anymore. We gotta keep this shit at the 50s, man. I mean, and are our assumptions always right? No. I will give you a very good example. There's this black chef, and he's like jacked to the fucking gills, like bodybuilder Jack. I drink a quart of steroids in the morning. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. What I thought was the guy was a bodybuilder that just could cook and just bought a chef's jacket for the hell of it. Right? Actually, no, I was completely wrong. He's actually an ex-military chef, I forget which branch, so I don't want to say, who's a legit world-class chef who's cooked for 4 presidents. So my assumptions were wrong. But again, how many times would I have been right based on the way the guy looks and his food?
And uniquenesses,
Yes.
and even as you imagine.
But again, everyone makes assumptions, and everyone, quite frankly, has to make assumptions. If you didn't, you'd be catatonic.
Imagine our kids here of 5. Each one of them have a different look. Each one of them have a different eye color. But each one of our kids have these uniquenesses, and maybe.
I don't want to shit on you, dude. But it is not possible for you to have 5 kids of 5 different eye colors. That is absolutely not possible. Methinks some of these kids might not be yours.
Attack and solve.
Now, me, if I was facing Chef Rush in a cook-off, I don't see a big jack black man that could eat me like beef jerky. I just see my opponent. His race means nothing to me. I'm just like, how am I going to beat this guy who's cooked for 4 presidents? Son of a bitch.
Isn't always
solve a problem.
Because eye color is a pretty big determinant factor. Like, unless you have at least a grandparent that has blue eyes, you cannot have blue eyes. Because every single blue-eyed person, like myself, shares a genetic ancestor. A genetic relation.
is meant to be celebrated. Like my white brothers and sisters, until they put their glasses on, they can't see all the dimension.
Oh my God. And of course, it's always our fault. What you just said is an incredibly racist statement. Why don't you put your glasses on and see the decay in the black community? Just saying, why don't you see the decay in the black community? Because I'd like to say, ever since Martin Luther King passed away, or was assassinated, whatever, yeah, the black community, especially after the invention of the welfare office, is, well, pretty much gone to shit. But no, it's only white people that need to do this.
Of life. Maybe having a school named after a Confederate general that I have to attend as a black person, maybe that's a problem.
Oh my God. All those guys were dead a century before you were born. And by the way, Robert E. Lee, the Confederate general that headed the general that headed the Confederate Army, hated slavery. Owned slaves for exactly 24 hours. So again, you're ignorant of history. And if slavery was the core tenet of why the state succeeded from the Union to cause the Civil War, then why in the fuck were there 4 slave states in the Union? Like, you're aware of that. That's why Juneteenth celebrates the last Confederate slaves. If you were a slave in one of the 4 slave states that fought on the Union side, yeah, you were still owned by some white motherfucker for 6 more months.
Maybe that's a problem.
Again, were there slave owners in the Confederate Army leadership? Yes. But again, the big cheese hated slavery. So did Ulysses S. Grant, if it's any consolation. But he kept his one slave far longer than Robert E. Lee kept his. Just saying. And again, slavery was a contentious issue. Even back at the founding of the country. And, you know, I guess they just kicked the can down the road. And then they kept kicking the can. All right, I just get back to the video.
So I think that in America...
Yes, Lee was against slavery. You can look this up. He did own slaves, but he owned them for 24 hours, and he inherited them from his wife's father. Again, do they teach history anymore?
Discussing and placing our heroes.
Sure, Emmanuel, that's powerful, man.
By the way, the hero of the Civil War, to all you fucking leftist jackasses, Lincoln didn't want black people to ever be elected to office, didn't want goddamn blacks to vote, didn't want interracial marriage, thought interracial marriage was actually an abomination. So yeah, he wanted blacks to be free, didn't like slavery, but he also wanted them second-class citizens.
Have a quick story.
Then provide me. Did I say Lincoln? Yes, I did. Abraham Lincoln did not want black people holding office and did not want black people marrying white people.
That's my goal of these
Story about cancer.
Oh my God. Yes, Lee owned slaves for approximately 24 to 48 hours. He inherited them from his father-in-law. He then subsequently set them all fucking free. If there is a possibility that we exist after death and we can look down on the earth from whatever plane of existence, do you think just Dr. King is just screaming from the heavens, what the fuck is wrong with you black motherfuckers?
After slavery, there were Jim Crow laws. So technically, like, we've come a long way from slavery to Jim Crow, and then from Jim Crow to the new Jim Crow, the last 70 years or so.
Wow.
The last 70 years? What is this new Jim Crow? You're aware that in that time, I'm not going to bore everyone with all the heights black people have achieved. I'm just going to go with the very tippy top of the government. We've had black representatives, black Supreme Court justices, black senators, and a black guy elected president. I noticed y'all weren't saying this shit in 2010.
That is coming a long way, right? Black people are no longer enslaved. However, there's still such a long way to go. I mean, think about this for a second.
Great, you're an activist. You've uttered the damned word of the activists. Well, you know, we've gained a bit, but we got a long way to go. 'Cause I need them sympathy.
Second. Last week, it was 53 years ago to the day that black and white people finally were able to be married.
Good. That's great. That's progress. But it was 53 years ago. Get the fuck over it.
Before we were spending the night here in Waco last night, and I thought about this for a second at a dear white friend's house, and I realized if this was 70 years ago, I would have been like executed for that.
Wow.
Like, just imagine that for a second.
Wow.
Sure.
If this was
And it was 70 years ago. How many people alive today remember that time? Maybe a couple thousand. You know, they're in their late 90s, but their minds are still sharp as tacks. Yeah, you're talking about shit that happened a long fucking time ago.
come a long way, absolutely. Do we still have a long way to go? No doubt about it.
Of course, because you're an activist. The road never ends. In a song that Gandalf once sang, the road goes ever on and on.
But I'm hopeful. I know, Emmy, you had a question that you wanted to ask.
Are you afraid of white people?
Oh, whoa.
That's what I love
Wait a
about
second.
children. Emmy, that is a phenomenal question. I'm not afraid of white people. I am cautious of white people. I think about water and electricity.
Well, that's a completely racist answer. Also, these children aren't exactly 100% white now, are they? I love how at some point Asians got lumped in with whites. Hey, Asians! Welcome to the white party! Can I get some wontons? How about a little egg roll? Some lo mein? Chicken fried rice? Nah, I don't want pot stickers.
Water, necessary for life. Electricity, it's also necessary for life. But I do understand if those two have a negative interaction.
Yeah.
Actually, electricity is not necessary for life. It just makes life a hell of a lot easier. But you need water to live, but you don't need electricity. You can go back to burning wood to keep warm and boil your water and cook your food and all that other shit.
When I still might use my cell phone charger in the bathroom. You know, as a female, you still might use your curling iron or your blow dryer next to the sink.
Sure.
But you have to remember, if those two things ever have a negative interaction, it could be lethal. So,
Sorry, but that is one of the most racist things I think I've ever fucking heard in my fucking life.
I'm not afraid of white people. I'm just cautious. And I think the beautiful thing
about what? What do you think? What do you think we're gonna do to you? The worst I would do to you is try to get you to do a sit down like this, and I can challenge your bullshit. What do you think? There's a gaggle of white people around every corner that's literally a half a second away from making sure your black ass swings from a tree?
You are a black person.
Now, me, if it was up to me, the young gentleman that led to the young boy's death, those guys, if they're convicted, then we don't need a prison. I got rope. All I need is a tree.
In Alameda County, you are 20 times more likely to be incarcerated than a white person.
No! And me wanting you to sit down and talk to me is non-lethal. Hell, I'll buy the beer.
of children and about children is that we learn things as kids and it develops us as adults, which is why you all being here with your children is the most powerful thing, because this conversation.
Yeah. There's no way all 5 of those kids are his. I'm sorry, something's fucked up. Again, I don't know if we have 2 sets of twins and a single, or they just rapid fired shat out these ones, but
Could be life. I reached out to you, and you said, I brought my entire family.
well, considering that 1 out of, God, is it 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4? Fuck it, I'll be nice. I'll say 1 out of 5 fathers is raising a child that is not theirs. Because all it takes, dad to go away for 2 days on business, or husband to go away for 2 days on business. Mom has a few nights alone. She goes to the bar, gets drunk, gets stupid, and now paternity is in question. Which is why I fully support mandatory paternity tests at birth. I mean, I'm sorry, but and look, if he finds out it's not his and he still loves the bitch and forgives her, then that's on him. But I also think that he has the right to know if that baby's his or not. You know, before he invests a shit ton of money into it.
Of 7 together. Because 30 years ago, I saw the LA riots, And 30 years ago, I'm seeing these riots.
Yes.
And I will not let that happen again.
You mean the riots both times? The Rodney King, George Floyd riots? It was a bunch of black motherfuckers burning down a bunch of black-owned shit. Oh my God, I would have tore your fucking ass up on this. The only reason I'm not really doing it now is I'm kind of, about several beers deep into it. And yeah, no. Both times it was a bunch of black-owned businesses being burnt down by a bunch of people that looked like them. It wasn't a bunch of white people getting all pissed off. A black man owns a fucking rib joint. Burn it to the ground. We don't care. We want to eat the ribs.
So do I have hope for the future? I do, because of a man like your dad. Do I have hope for the future? I do, because of a woman like your mom.
Wow.
But the only way to have hope for the future is if you all listen to these people, if these people listen to me, and if I listen to them, then
But you haven't been listening to them. You have just been lecturing them. See, that's the difference between a conversation and a lecture. What you've given right now, my dude, is a lecture, not a conversation. Because a conversation is you present your side of the idea, and then I talk back. That's the difference.
Joe, I think you...
No, he's listened to their questions, but he has not allowed any room for them to rebut anything that he said. That is a conversation where you have the rebuttal. Where you ask a question, that is just a lecture. And you answer it, that is more akin to a lecture. Again, I'd happily take this motherfucker on. And he would not like it. He would not like it. Because I have the receipts of why blacks can't build generational wealth. I have the receipts of why they're in the shit they're in.
For Tim Winworth and Walgreens, this is all about business. But for us, it's a matter of life or death.
Well, geez, Reverend. And I hate to use that term, but, well, Reverend, maybe you should have stood up with your little pulpit there and told the black community, we need to stop all this goddamn theft that is destroying businesses in our community. Did you do that? Did you get black mamas and grandmas that are law-abiding citizens to make sure their son Tariq fucking doesn't go out and rob the Walgreens blind and then sell it on the street for, steals $900 worth of shit, it's not a big deal, and then sells it for, I don't know, maybe $200-300? Doesn't matter, it's all profit. Did you say that? Did you instill that, stealing is one of the fucking 10 commandments? No, you didn't. You probably bitched about white people and, how they unfairly target our black brothers and sisters and blah, blah, blah. Did you advocate for, slapping your kid? No, you didn't. So, or did you advocate for, Shaniqua to stay with Tyrone? No, you didn't. You were perfectly fine with single moms. Yeah, you pretty much goddamn helped destroy the black community. So yeah. Did you advocate that welfare is in fact theft, Reverend? Oh wait. I know why you didn't. 'Cause all them black single mamas see you for spiritual counseling. When we all know what that's code for. You're fucking them.
They say, hey, it's just the latest.
80% of black children are raised by single moms. 80% I don't know the percentage actually in truth. But a vast majority of black children are raised with sisters and brothers that are not 100% there. They're half sisters and half brothers. On average, a black woman would have probably, I'd say, about 3 baby daddies. And again, statistics bear this out. Do you want to say I'm the racist or the numbers? So you want to try again, Iron Gullet? What else did I say that's racist? And plus, if you actually want, just type in black single mother demands, I guess, for a husband, or just type in black single mother demands. Or watch some Fresh and Fit clips. These women's demands are insane. Now, to be completely fair, white women's demands and white single moms' demands are just as insane as well. But since we're sticking with this topic, I'd figure I'd keep it here.